Yeah, a little progress. Some issues. Typical Zvezda. Some serious fit issues. I guess nothing you can't fix with a little putty. The inside is nicely buttoned up with the BT-5 upgrade kit. Obviously, I only used parts I felt would have been applicable. Couple of top issues. The kit had 6 little round pins that stuck up from the top, or stuck up on the top plate of the hull, and in no photographs could I find the 6 pins anywhere, so I cut them all off. Well, I found 2 of them actually. There are 2 that sit back here, one here and one there, and they appear to sit on a box. This should be a box back here. It has a slight raised area in the outer armor plate that didn't have a purpose that I could determine. So I did a little more research, and it seems that this should be like a box back here, not just a single side armor plate. So I have to build up the little box, and then I'll put the little round pin. I don't have any idea what it's for. Air intake, perhaps. I really am clueless when it comes to that. So I'll need to build up the little box that goes here and put the little pin back. It should only be as high as the top of the back engine grate here. The engine grate turned out really nice after cutting out the centerpiece, which was, I'm going to guess that's about 3 millimeters thick. It was all but short of one solid chunk of plastic back there. Thank God for the Dremel tool, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do it. Again, this is for the BT-5 though, so it has these openings which should be on the other side where the exhaust would come out. But I'm going to make a tarp or put some little bits of stowage or something over to cover the openings to hide them. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Bit of a rant here. Working on my BT-5. I have the tracks on this side. The directions list very clearly numbers in what order the tracks should go together, and seems to make it quite simple. The problem is that although the numbers are on the paperwork, the directions, nowhere on the sprue are any of the sections numbered. you kind of got to ask yourself, who's running that boat? All right, another one down. This one took a while too, actually. It's a BT-5, Italeri BT-5, but actually it's a Zvezda rebox of Italeri BT-5 rebox of it. 1992 was the molding number on the kit, or the date on the kit. Well, it had a lot of issues. There were some fit issues, some missing parts issues, not missing from the kit. The kit had all the parts it was supposed to have because it was still sealed when I got it, but I mean, it was just, there were certain items that should have been on the vehicle that weren't. And I'll point them out as I kind of go around as I recall what they were. First off, one of the big things was the decals. The decals were just shot, gone completely. So between a friend of mine, Stevie Gibson from England, who sent me a set, and a set I purchased from, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Georg Everman, from Decal Comanics is his website. I'll try to remember to put it in the description. I bought a set of his decals, which are the unit markings in the back. The ones I use from Stevie are the ones in front here. I found a photograph of another Soviet tank where it had two sets of markings on it, and the front one was kind of wore out, like it was in another unit and they got transferred. So that's what I did here. I like the idea of having both of them in. It's got the BT-7 Edward PE kit on it, which most of the stuff is fine. I mean, it's the straps to hold down the extra tracks on the side, and the rear air intake cover. But the only difference is the BT-5 and BT-7. One of the biggest differences is the exhaust system. On the BT-5 here, you can see it's on the outside, big hanging off the back muffler kind of thing. But the BT-7, the pipes came out the back of the grate here, so there was two holes. To overcome that, I simply turned them around backwards and made a tarp to cover up the openings so it looks a little more appropriate. Now, as I come around the back is where a lot of the details that were missing, you're going to find. It did not have the tail light. The Edward kit came with the little photo etch front for it, so I made that out of some sprue. All the bolt detail back here on the sides was missing, along with some of the extra little plates. I don't know if you can see them in the photos, and the brackets underneath that hold the muffler in place. Those were all scratch built with either straight styrene or scrap PE sprue. The unditching log or untrenching log on the side is just a piece of wood from my front yard. Here's where I had an issue. This side of the vehicle, for some reason, is substantially shorter in wheelbase than the other side. If you look at it, the sag is the same on both, and this one, all the track lengths matched up perfectly. This side, however, was half a track length too long, and I mean, it was painfully obvious as it stuck out one side or the other. So what I ended up doing was I ended up cutting one of the bottom sections in half and hiding it under the road wheel. Because when I first built it, I had the cut off piece up here, and it just was, it was crap. I mean, I was almost binned the whole thing because of it. But as luck would have it, one of the parts for the kit that you can use or not use is 4 extra track links that they wanted you to mount up here on the back, and which, by the way, were wrong. They had the 2 flat ones and then the 2 raised ones. You had to actually cut the guide horn off the rearmost raised one and glue it in place on the front one in order to get it to be correct, to match the tracks on the other side. But I trimmed those up and fit them into the front, and like I said, cut that piece down there in the middle to, or bottom under the middle or back road wheel there, in order to make it look proper from the front. Oh, and the front. A couple of interesting things about the front. The headlights. The headlights were 2 pieces. You had the base that attached to the fenders, obviously, and then there was like what best described as an old 1950s flying saucer, you know, that kind of double bump shape that they wanted you just to paint white or silver to replicate the headlights. What I did was I drilled them out, painted the inside silver, and then used some of this stuff that I found online. It's a clear UV resin, and it just formed this perfect little drop of a headlight shape. When you hit it with the UV flashlight, it hardens up in about 3 or 4 minutes, and it gives a really nice effect. I'm going to try the next one I build. I'm going to try putting some Mylar behind it before I glue them in place and see if that improves it even better. Now there's some scratch building inside. I don't know if you're going to be able to see any of it. Some of the rods, tubes, pump handles, so on and so forth. The hand brakes for either side of the track controls or steering have been added. The seat is the only thing that came with the kit. The BT-7's photo etch kit had an interior in it, which is I wanted, because I wanted the doors left open so you can look inside it, so you can actually see all the racks for machine guns and ammo and so on and so forth. It's finished with Vallejo and AK paints, pigments, and finishes, or environmentals, and yeah, I think it turned out pretty nice. I mean, you can get a decent model out of it, but you're going to have to do quite a bit of research and some, creative construction in order to accomplish your end goal. Oh, and the barrel was solid, so I drilled that out too, so you get a nice, front instead of painting a black dot. Okay, thanks for watching.